Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
First of all, I want to acknowledge that we didn't give you much time. We were trying to, and we will try to give you as much time as we can. But we are acknowledging that we have given the pro side a lot of time and a lot of time to churn the nectar, so to say. But please go ahead. Tell us about yourself first.
Yeah, I'll be, giving a brief history because I'd like my viewers to go through my history from my books. So I published Female Diksha Guru, Do We Need Them? But prior to that, I published this book, A Divine Prophecy, Predictions about Lord Chaitanya and the Harinam Sankirtan movement, coming from Sri Vaisnava Alvars, Sri Nammalvar. I don't know, I'm sorry. Okay. Are you able to see this?
Yes, we can see it. We can see it too.
So I come from this background of Sri Vaishnava. I'm born and brought up in that. And I have done all of these, I went through all the Upanayana and all the samskaras, Vaishnava samskaras. They are not, Smarta or Neo-Smarta. It is purely Vaishnava. And I'm coming from a Vadagalai sect. And like everyone, I also went and, studied engineering and other things. And I went to Japan and I lived in US. So my samskara broke. But by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, when I came to Seattle, under Harivilas Prabhu, actually Harivilas Maharaj, who is an initiating spiritual master now, he and Mukunda Datta Prabhu and a few more Prabhupada disciples, Panchatattva Prabhu, they rescued me. And by reminding me that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is how I came, and I was in the US for 10 years, and my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj, he asked me, what are you doing there? In the sense, you should be preaching Krishna consciousness. So I took it as an inspiration. In 2012, 11 or 12, I moved back completely to US. And then I moved back to Coimbatore, my own hometown, where I was born and brought up. And I'm here now talking to you. And I don't work anywhere. I do book distribution. I maintain my family completely by distributing Prabhupada books. And I also distribute my Guru Maharaj books and other books and my books. So this is how I maintain myself. And
very nice.
So Prabhu, what brings you to this issue? What drew you to speak out so strongly on this particular issue?
Yeah, first and foremost, when I came to know about this issue, I had studied Prabhupada books and I saw 4:12:32. I had not an iota of doubt when I first studied. This was way back before even I knew about this issue, back in 2003 or 4 when I was in the US. And then later I came to know that there is this Suniti, being a woman, however, being a woman, specifically his mother, Suniti, could not become Dhruva Maharaja's Diksha Guru. It didn't, I went through this, that was fine. Now, then when I came to know that statement is not necessarily, a be-all, end-all golden statement. And that has been there's so many explanations given to that. And I was shocked because, I had always studied Prabhupada books. And then I started to research. And I found that Prabhupada has been saying Pancharatrika system is the system of initiation. And many places he has mentioned about Narada Pancharatra. Then I came out and saw that none of the ISKCON devotees, I'm sorry to say, I'm not going to make a search on Pancharatrika. Do we need them? And I found what's the answer from the scriptures. So Prabhupada says in Madhya Lila 20.352 purport, this is another purport that many of those who advocate female Diksha Guru have avoided completely. Even the Vedic, even the hermeneutics, SAC's hermeneutics manual does not mention this purport. But this purport says, Shastra Sadhu Guru Vakya Chiteta Kariya Aikya, quoting Narottama Dasa Thakura. If a Guru or a Sadhu speaks, and if it is not aligned with Shastra, and if Shastra is not the center, that should be rejected. And Prabhupada says Shastra should be the center of all. And I found in this book, we explain, and in this book, this was the first book, and the Female Diksha Guru book, we explained how Narada Pancharatra brings out those statements, Najatu Mantrada Nari. So these were the things that were, brought me back into this topic.
Right. So Prabhuji, so if I'm understanding correctly, then your argument would be that since Prabhupada's statements to Professor O'Connell or his letter to Hamsadutta Prabhu or Himavati Devi, since those are, as far as your understanding is, since those statements contradict Shastra, we should reject those statements. Is that correct?
No, no, we wouldn't reject. That's not the way we handle, it's not a mental thing of accept and reject. The understanding is Shastra is the center, means we have to see what is the Shastra saying. And we have to see if that particular Shastra has been commented by our Acharyas. Suppose you take Bhagavad Samhita. There are 3 verses. Which has been, books have been written on that. Najatu Mantrada Nari is 1.42 and 1.43 says, women may give hitahitam, bodha yeyur hitahitam, but acharyam na harhanti. Kvachit. No time they can be acharyas. Now the 3rd verse, which is what Prabhupada, it's an exception. So even in the O'Connell conversation and all of those things, Prabhupada is talking about exception. And the exception is Pratyakshita Atma Natanam Naesham Chintayan Kuladikam. So Pratyakshita Atma Nata means seeing the Lord face to face. This is the verse that says, if somebody is at that level, they can see the Lord face to face, then Naesham Chintayan Kuladikam. You don't have to see the Kula, Adi, all those things. You don't have to see those. And they can be Acharyas. Now, what is an interesting point here is this verse. You may ask, how did you pick up this verse? But this verse has been commented by Baladev Vidyabhushana in his Vaishnavanandini commentary 1.13.15 Bhagavatam purport. And he says, with the example of Vidura, he says that Vidura was Shudra and junior. How could he instruct Dhritarashtra? This was his question he raises. And he answers, because Vidura was Sakshatkrita Paratatvat, Pareshatvat. So he could see Paresha, Paraisha, face to face. He was a Dharmaraja in his previous life. And he could see it. So, and then Baladev Vidyabhushana substantiates his views with the very same verses of Bharatvat Samhita. So now we cannot reject Bharatvat Samhita, or we cannot accept Bharatvat Samhita by our own understanding of Bharatvat Samhita, nor we can reject it by our own understanding. We understand from Acharyas. So one point is Baladev Vidyabhushana has quoted the very same verses. So it's not new to Gaudiya Sampradaya. Now, second point, before I quickly, Vedanta Deshika in Nyasa Tilakam quotes in the verse number 1. He quotes Gurubhya, Tat Gurubhyasya, I think that's the verse. I have to see. But Nyasa Tilakam, he quotes the very same Bharatvat Samhita verses. So, should we reject Prabhupada's statements? No, because we can see Prabhupada's statements from about Janava Mata or all those things are matching with these 3 verses. So, Shastra, Sadhu, Guru, Vakya, Chitete, Karya, Aikya. We got to do the Aikya. This is the Aikya principle. I will wait for another question.
Sure. The Bharatvat, this is super interesting. The Bharatvat Samhita verses that you are citing, they don't only speak about gender, correct? They speak about other considerations in terms of...
No, they are Prapati Shastra. That is the Shastra for Charanagati. If you go chapter 1...
No, Prabhuji, what I'm saying is the verses that you're citing, they're not only talking about male or female as the qualification, they're talking about all different qualifications, including like one's varna, one's kula, right? So
no, I'll explain that.
Yes.
Yeah, please ask your question.
No. So I'm just wondering then, how do we understand then? Are we applying that same exceptional, like that same exception that we accept that all of our gurus in ISKCON who are coming from, by the Bharatvat Samhita's standpoint at least, coming from very, very poor backgrounds, are they also seeing Krishna face to face? Is that why we accept them?
No, very good question. The verses start from 1.37. It's not that we picked up some verse from the middle. I went through the entire chapter. So 130, actually 114, 115 talks about who are all eligible for this, receiving this mantra. First, eligibility for receiving is very clear. No, at no point of time, it is in all yugas, everybody, including man, woman, children, old people, and even animals are eligible for Pancha Samskara. So they can do Sharanagati. So that's the eligibility to receive. And gradually the verses come, who can give this? And in that, yeah, there are levels starting that only Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, specifically Brahmana only can do. And if Brahmana is not there, Kshatriya can do. But the Kshatriya cannot initiate Brahmana. And again, there are rules given gradually. And one point of time, even if at a time of emergency, there can be some, I don't want to go through that exceptions. This is all discussed in this particular book, Vaishnava Diksha, according to Narada Pancharatra. And when it comes to the verse, specifically, Najatu Mantrada Nari says, at no point of time, Na Jatu. Jatu means never. This is the rule. This is the rule. So because Varnashrama, this is based on, not that Varnashrama cannot be separated from our society. Whether you like it or not, today we go to all corporate world, anywhere, there are sweepers or sweepers, the CEO is a CEO. You cannot have a CEO come and sweep, and the sweeper cannot make decisions of the CEO. So this is irreversible, and that's Krishna's system. But the point I'm trying to make here is, the very verse that gives about exception, Pratyakshita Atma Natanam na esham chintayan kula adikam. That means the normal way is to see kula adi. Adi means ityadi, ... starting from kula. But in the time of, when somebody is in the face-to-face seeing, you should not see. Now your question could be that, are all ISKCON Gurus Pratyakshita Atmanata? So now comes what is Varna Dharma, and in Varna Dharma there is 3 Dharma. So there is a way to make somebody Dvijatvam. And the Dvijatvam, obviously the scriptures are saying we have to follow the scriptures. Shastra is center. One of the things that scripture says is Guru should be independent. The Guru cannot be dependent on anybody. And the other thing the scripture says is woman cannot be independent. Now, somebody in the woman body must follow both the injunctions. Now, somebody in the male body, there is also Dvijatvam, through Dvijatvam. What is that? I'm Yata Kanchananam Yati Kankshian. You can make, mercury, adding mercury to zinc or bell metal can make gold. Tata Diksha Vidanena. So, through Diksha Vidana, anybody can be made to Brahmana. Even women can develop Brahminical qualities. But when it comes to this Dharma, woman can be a Guru Mata. Definitely in the marriage. Even our Gaura Keshava Prabhu was saying Lopamudra, Maitreyi and all those examples, right? But they were all in the Varna system. They were not independent. They were learning under the guidance of, Yajnavalkya. And even if you see, Yajnavalkya had 2 wives. One is, I believe she is Maitreyi. No, not Maitreyi. What's her name? I'm blanking. Gargi. And who is the other one? Usually we say Gargi and... sorry.
That's okay.
No, it's just blanking. But he had 2 wives. One of the wife was taking care of the household. The other wife was interested. So he encouraged her under his guidance. This is the point. They cannot be independent. So how come ISKCON Gurus, male Gurus? So through Dvijatvam, through Diksha Vidanena, they are chanting, they are purifying. I talk about this in this small booklet, and I'm also coming up with a big book, Harinam Initiation, Diksha or Shiksha. So I discussed these points in my book, but through Diksha Vidanena, generally people are all elevated. First of all, it says that the moment somebody comes to Krishna consciousness and follows 4 regulated principles, they come up to the level of, and they are ready to give up their nicha achara. That means lower habits, meat eating, intoxication, gambling, illicit sex. If they are ready to do this, immediately they are elevated into the Varna system. These people, those who are outside of Varna also come as Shudras. And then they have to gradually chant Hare Krishna. So then they will be practicing and become, but at the same time, somebody who is in a body must follow that we are not the body. but we are given a body. We have to follow that body dharma. And this is what
Right.
we understand.
So men who are born outside of the traditional Varnashram system, as so many, let's say, Westerners were and are, those men, they can become purified through these rites. They can become Dvija, right? But can women become Dvija?
No, women can also be purified by marriage. They will become, this is Prabhupada is saying, that when somebody is married, she is a Brahmani. If married to a Brahmana, Brahmani. So the system of marriage, you got to be in the system. Women are protected by only 3 protectors: father before marriage, husband after marriage, and older son after, in old age. So we cannot create our own protectors. That would be
Oh no.
He'll come back. He's making some points.
Vedam is a Buddha.
It's cutting out a little bit.
Prabhu, can you hear us?
Prabhu, it's cutting out just a little bit. Can you hear us?
My wife is going to kill me.
So it looks like
Okay.
Okay, you're
he's
back. Are you back?
Yes, I am.
Okay, sorry.
I'm sorry,
We
cut
lost
out.
you for like
We
30
lost you.
seconds almost.
Okay, where was I? What was the last thing that you
were
heard from
saying
me?
The woman is protected before marriage by her father, and then
At every stage, a woman is
Yeah.
And then
protected.
what did you say after that?
Yeah, we cannot introduce new protectors. This is a GPC passed a resolution that women can be protected by Vaishnavi Sangha, women can be protected. This is against Shastric injunctions. It is Ashastriya. You cannot introduce a new protector. They got, and the Shastras, Pancharatra Shastras, Manu Samhita, Vaidika Shastras are all saying that women, Vaivahika, only Vivaha is their initiation, the first thing foremost. Then the husband becomes the guru, and then they can train. This is how you see in history. Krishna was trained. But
Prabhuji, so I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think this is a great time. I want to read a morning walk interaction that Srila Prabhupada had. This is from Nairobi, 1975, and I want you to I want to get your thoughts on this because it's on this exact subject. So a gentleman on the walk asks about, he says, Srila Prabhupada, since there is no distinction between man and woman, these are both designations, is it possible for women to be Brahmana? So Brahmananda clarifies the question for Prabhupada. He repeats, he says, is it possible for women to become Brahmana? Prabhupada says, woman is a Brahmana's wife, then she is automatically Brahmana, which sounds very similar to what you just stated. Then the gentleman asks, suppose she does not want to get married for the rest of her life, just wants to serve the Lord. Prabhupada replies, so in spiritual position, everyone is Brahmana. Brahmananda says, but you give Brahminical initiation to unmarried women. Prabhupada says, yes, but on spiritual point, she is Brahmana. On the spiritual platform, there is no distinction. So how do you understand that? I understand you're giving us the very sort of, you can say, orthodox view that a woman's purification must come through vivaha. But here, Srila Prabhupada seems to be suggesting that, at least in our contemporary setting, that there is, from a spiritual point of view, we cannot make distinction between man, woman, and that purification that comes with what in ISKCON we sometimes call second initiation, that should be considered equal for men and women. But it seems like what you're saying is something a little bit different from that. So can you clarify that?
Yes. Always when we read all these things, there will be, if there are 2 statements, apparently there are 2 statements from Prabhupada that are apparently contradicting. Do we agree on this?
Yeah, for sure.
Sure.
So now, how do we choose which one? What is the process to choose? Should I go with left? Should I go with right? What should be the tiebreaker?
Are you asking me? I have an answer for that.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I want to keep it interactive.
Yeah,
What do
so
you think? What do you think?
I would say that you would take that statement against like other statements of other acharyas or other shastra that we find as pramana in the Gaudiya Sampradaya, and then based upon that, we say that which way are we going to go in that?
Bingo. Thank you. So that is what Prabhupada is teaching us in his Madhya Leela 20.352 purport. Shastra is the center of all. So we should attempt to find out what are Purva Acharyas saying and what are the Shastras that are governing this topic. So in this particular case, I would like to say that Prabhupada himself has said many times throughout this purport, establish Varnashrama Dharma. Even Gaurakeshava Prabhu was mentioning that spiritual, what is that? Yeah, he was quoting from Rupa Goswami and Mirabai.
Yes.
In that episode, you saw Rupa Goswami was following Shastra and Mirabai is completely going in the exception stage. But Rupa Goswami is talking about us. We cannot take Mirabai for us. Right now, I'm talking to you. And if this call goes beyond 2 hours, I'll indicate silently to my wife, come on, get me something here. You know, Namarasa Prabhu has been holding me up since 5:30 a.m.
Sorry.
No, I'm just saying. So
Yeah.
I have to be in this platform, and Rupa Goswami is, we are Rupa Anugas. And Rupa Goswami has to be, he himself saw, well, I'm not qualified at that platform, and I'm going to distinguish in this particular case. So he moved away. My point is, yes, when there are two contradicting statements.
The story ends with Rupa Goswami agreeing with Mirabai. The story ends with Rupa Goswami actually
He could
agreeing.
be. No, he could be. But I'm also saying, we women, pratyakshita atmanata, we you see, the point here is we are not against women becoming guru. What we are against, what I am against is, no, let me clarify.
Let him finish.
No, sorry, go ahead. Please go ahead.
Let me clarify. What I'm trying to say here is creating an institution and creating some rules and regulations and procedures and policies for something that is taboo in scriptures, that is taboo in Acharya Vakyas. This is invention. This is what we cannot be doing. And in order to do this, in order to fully understand this, we should establish the norm. Why Varnashrama Dharma is the norm. Everywhere, and one more point I would like to respond to Gaurakeshava Prabhu, spiritual equality. He says that, he quoted Krishna Tattva Veda. But the Krishna Tattva Veda should be understood with Bhagavatam purport 6. I just now had it here. 6:16:43. Right? Where you can go through this. 6:16:43. And Prabhupada says this is about Bhagavata Dharma and Krishna and Aryan. He says Varnashrama Dharma are not different. He says the Varnashrama Dharma is the Bhagavata Dharma. And we can see Rupa Goswami's act with Mirabai. Even though he agreed with Mirabai, but his act was, he was a proponent of, he is a personified of Bhagavata Dharma, but he followed. And so Prabhupada, Varnashrama Dharma, and Prabhupada explains this. So the point is, Prabhupada in that conversation, yes, should be understood with every woman. And Prabhupada, although he created Brahmacharani Ashram, you can see he told his temple presidents, get them married. He said, get them married off. Even though he did not host them on a permanent basis. Okay, another point is, when Prabhupada came, it was an Apata Dharma. Now, we are not in the same Apata Dharma as Prabhupada was. So,
what does Apata Dharma mean?
Emergency times, clearly crazy times.
Right.
And that is why Apata Dharma, there is always statements that a Brahmana can come down to the level of, anyone can come down. This is 7:11:17 Bhagavatam. Anybody can come down except king. So the GBC, if they are the administrators, they cannot come down and take up any other profession. They have to be king. but others can take others' profession. So, but Prabhupada has cleared the apata dharma situation for us. Certainly, we are in tough times, but we have to establish Varnashrama Dharma. When we establish Varnashrama Dharma, we will see a clear solution for all of these things.
So, Prabhu, I appreciate that, and I obviously, you have a lot of conviction on this point. It does raise some question for me as to why Srila Prabhupada wouldn't have been more direct about this. You're presenting it that Prabhupada, and he certainly made some very strong statements about the need to establish Varnashram Dharma, but it seems to be there's a real lacking of clear, direct statements that Prabhupada would make on the subject, and where he would make statements, they almost invariably emphasize the spiritual equality piece. So why not, if this was so clear and so obvious and so, locked with tradition, why wouldn't Prabhupada have been more clear about it?
Good point. Prabhupada was, from what I read Prabhupada books, on Female Diksha Guru, Prabhupada was very clear. Being a woman, however, Suniti, specifically Dhruva Maharaja's son, mother, could not become his Diksha Guru. This one is a direct answer to the topic that we are discussing. And if we come and say, and Gaurakeshava Prabhu, I don't know, he was saying that Suniti was not even initiated. This is bogus. I'm telling you right away, because Suniti, during Dhruva Maharaja, how was he initiated? He was only 5 years old. A Kshatriya cannot be initiated Vaidika way by 5 years old. He has to be at 9, 11 years. Do you know that? So how was Narada Muni initiating? And Prabhupada says he initiated, Narada Muni initiated with the Pancharatrika Vidhi. So how can Gaurakeshava Prabhu say that Suniti was not even initiated? This is complete misunderstanding. Suniti was initiated by Pancharatrika Vidhi. Pancharatrika Vidhi is all, not only Kali Yuga, it is all Yugas. So we are all talking only Pancharatrika Vidhi. This whole Female Diksha Guru is not Vaidika Diksha. This is Pancharatrika Diksha. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that the Hare Krishna mantra that we got, Sola Mala Bhattris Akshara Ei Tantra, from Chaitanya Bhagavata Adi Kanda 14.146. So we are talking Pancharatrika, but we don't want to accept Pancharatrika Vidhi. This would be a big, this is like, we keep saying, there is one saying in Tamil, Padikkirathu Ramayanam, Idikkirathu Perumal Koil, which means you read Ramayana and you demolish a Vishnu temple. We say Shastra. We say Krishna is supreme. Don't worship demigod. We tell everybody, don't go worship Sai Baba. We pulled everybody from all demigod worship, from all Bhuta and Manushya worship, and we brought them, and even we brought who don't know what is worship, Mlecha, and to highest level of Vaisnava, and based on Shastra. We say that Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam is supreme. But now all of a sudden we come and throw out all those things and say, we give interpretation to what we understand Prabhupada said. So this is you asked me very first question, what brings you here, Namaras Prabhu?
Yeah.
It was shocking to me. Why did you bring me from my Sri Vaishnava background? I keep asking this question. Why did I take up Gaudiya Vaishnavism? Right. So I found the Shastra centricity is unshakable. So we will lose that if we go with this implement Female Diksha Guru. We can implement Ritvikism. Tell me one good reason why we should not accept Ritvikism. That's you say that is not Shastriya. Now I proved here this is not Shastra. So why should we not accept Ritvikism? They are the sides of the same coin.